This is a story of finding the positive within the negative. So, growing up, I dabbled in a little bit of activities. I played basketball at one point. Learned to play the piano, violin, cello, clarinet, bass clarinet. Did color guard, marching band, concert band, jazz band. Participated in a lot of different activities. But as I got to high school, I had music under my belt. I was playing a lot of instruments, and I just personally felt that it was corny for me to go into high school being in the band. Plus, at the time, the band director was kind of scary to a lot of people, and I wasn't ready to take on that role. So I kind of just stepped away from band, even though I love playing musical instruments. I kind of just stepped away and was like, not my forte. I'm not gonna keep rolling with it during high school. So my freshman year, I took a film and video class with Mr. Ashcraft, aka Mr. A. Um, he was a funny guy. Like he was just laid back and he loved film. Like he truly loved film. So with his interest in film made me love film. Just like when I was younger, my favorite subject is math because that ended up being my favorite subject after my fourth and fifth grade teacher. Like she was my fourth grade teacher, and then she became a fifth grade teacher, and literally had the same class I did in fourth grade when I got to fifth grade, and had the same teacher and classmates. So I ended up falling in love with math then with her, and she loved math. Like when I get someone who's enthusiastic about their subject that they're teaching, I, I grasp better onto it. So Mr. A, he was loving film, and he saw my interest in film and how I love movies. And so he came up to me one day after class and he was like, "Hey, we have this program where a lot of sophomores start, but it's a production program and it consists of being a part of our television and theater program here at the school." So I was like, "Oh, okay." Requires a lot of work, dedication, staying late at night. Understandable, but hey, something new. Not doing band, why not? So my sophomore year, 10th grade year came, joined the production program, and it was not what I expected. Like it was, but it wasn't. Um, Basically, with the program, it was a student ran program, so we were responsible as students of basically, when it comes to our theater program, we ran the show. We had students who started in the show, pretty much ran the show, like costumes, props. As students, we kind of put it together under supervision of certain advisors from different departments. Like art teachers was kind of the advisors for the costumes and stage decoration, and um, our drama teacher, she kind of handled the guest relations, and everyone played different roles. So we all had our own parts. Like everyone in the class, it was a class about like 75 to 85 students at one time. So we all had responsibilities within the program, roles for that year that we had to do. So with the program, I learned a lot. Like in my experience there, I was a box office manager. I learned how to manage the box office and selling tickets. I remember after the plays, we were depositing like whole amounts of money, like large amounts of money, and being able to count it, write it in the books, put it in the safe, and then the next morning I had to go up to the program director's office. When he got there, put it in his safe. He'll count it. He'll go back over the records, and then once that was all finalized, he will send me to the bank to drop it off to the bank. So we, as roles, like the roles that we did, it prepared us for life. And with that program, it was tough because I remember doing the television side, and they were, at first, I was like, I want to get into television, but let me try being a reporter. That's when I realized being in front of the camera was not for me, if you can't tell. It just wasn't my forte. I didn't feel comfortable. So I did my first report, and it was about the new system that they kind of added to the school, where we had like basically like a 15-minute break in between class. I mean, not 15, but like a 30, 45-minute break. I don't know. It was called like this lunch, like kind of like a lunch period, but we weren't eating lunch. I really don't know what it was. I guess it was like a. I really don't know what to call it, but it was just a break. Like we stopped having class where we just ended up going to wherever we wanted to go for 45 minutes during the middle of school. It was kind of weird, but hey, many of us didn't complain. So, um, so I covered that, and I realized, being in front of camera, being a reporter, not me. So I went to Mr. Beasley. He was the program director for GHS TV at the time, and I was like, hey, let me put me somewhere else because being on camera, I can't do it. I don't feel comfortable. I don't feel confident enough to do it. So he was like, well, how about this? Let me put you in a producer role. He said, I can see you more as a producer anyway, so let me show you a couple of things. And now Mr. Beasley was known as like one of the head producers at the program, especially coming from outside experience, besides teaching there. So it was a good opportunity. Like I learned a lot from him. And he's the one who kind of introduced me into producing. So, as a producer, I ended up producing a show called Inside the News for Gail Dorban, who was the owner of the Germantown newspaper. And if anyone knows Gail Dorban, probably you guys don't because you're not from Germantown, but she was a tough cookie. Like, she was the lady who would come to campus. We had our own television studio on campus. She would come to campus at our television door and like smoking a cigarette. And of course, you're on school property. You're not supposed to be smoking, let alone your television station either. But she was one tough cookie. You can tell her anything, and she was the lady who did what she wanted to do. It was her show. You couldn't tell her anything. So I got the tough one, but I learned a lot from her. It was interesting working with her and working for her as her producer. So with the program, it took a lot of dedication from us. Like as students, we were staying late at night. I mean, as a box office manager, I spent my Saturday mornings like wake up, be at the box office at 9 a.m., go home around 5, 4 or 5, come back at 6 to sell tickets before the play opened, stayed to about 12 at night until the show closed, counted all the money from ticket sales, concessions, and then deposited. Like, we, being a part of that production program ended up being somewhat like a full time job. But what I love about the program most is that they treated us like adults, where we knew what we had to do, but it was up to us to do it. Like we had weekly grade contracts that we filled out, and every day we had to say exactly what we did, when we did it, from what time, and then who approved it. So with the program, they being in a student run program, we develop a lot of responsibility. Like we had to learn time management because at the time, as a box office manager, I was still producing shows with my regular monthly shows. Other being a part of other production crews I was a part of for other shows. Um, Still getting ready for the play. As students, we were required to sell a certain amount of ads to help support the play. It was a lot went into it, and we were always doing something. But at that time, when I left the program, I could not wait. I was like, I can't wait to leave. This has been the hardest work. Like, imagine for 3 years waking up at like 5, like being at school from 5 to midnight and coming back the next day and doing it all over again for multiple times throughout the year. Like, it gets a little bit overwhelming, especially for a high school student. So I was so ready to leave the program. The director, he was a tough person. Like, he was mean. He said what was on his mind, regardless if it may have been hurtful or not. But he was a man with many accomplishments under his belt. He was dedicated. He was serious about his program. So he treated us like adults. He didn't treat us like little kids. He talked to us like adults and he treated us like adults. If we messed up or made a mistake, we had to face the consequences as if we was in the real world. But it was a life lesson. So when I graduated, I was like, man, I can't wait. I can't wait. Let me get out this program. Like, go back to just having a normal life. Like, I'm not working as hard anymore. Like, let me enjoy a break. But I came to MTSU, took a break. I didn't start producing until my sophomore year of college. But during my first year, as I was situating to school, I realized, okay, this is a lot of time management. Like, I got this class, this class, this class, this class, this. Like, everything started to become overwhelming, but I took a breath. I was like, okay, I got this. And so the same skills that I picked up and the same skills that I was developing in high school through the program helped me through my college career. And it's crazy because I would have never thought that at the time, especially everything I learned as a producer has helped me and shaped me and molded me into the producer that I am today. And that I'm really grateful for that experience I had. During that time, I didn't think of it as experience. It was more of, okay, I enjoy doing this, so let me keep doing it. It wasn't until I got to college and I was like, okay, I'm pretty good at this, so let me take this full on, head on. And when I did, coming into the program in college and seeing other people not understanding elements about producing and struggle to produce, and to me, it seemed easy. I was like, oh, this, I've done this before. Like, this is not hard. It made me appreciate the program more. It made me value everything I learned from that program more because seeing other people leave high school and not having the experience I had, I was like, okay, I felt like an advantage up. So I realized now that got close to the end of my college career and have been applying for jobs and going on interviews, the life lessons that I won't even call them life lessons. Let me say this first. When I was unhappy at one point with the production program because things became stressful and I felt like it was hard. It was hard for a high school student to be doing all of this. Really were life lessons that I gained because I was able to prepare and able to handle certain situations. Um, my skills for producer developed quicker than others because of the experience. Today, I can say I'm very grateful for the opportunity I was given because many people don't have the opportunity to be a part of a whole student ran television program and theater program in high school. So by me doing that program really has set me farther than other people in my major and in my career field. So even though I did not approve, well, I don't say did not approve, but wasn't too happy with what I was doing in high school, excuse me, even though I enjoyed it, but felt like it was a whole bunch of work, I appreciate it and value it today because even if I did not have that experience, I know I wouldn't be the producer that I am today, nor the person I am today, let alone being able to handle situations better than I could have handled them in the past. So it's interesting to see now that I'm older how a situation I felt was pointless or didn't seem much value in at the time has so much value today. It's a moment to where I feel seeing, finding the positive and the negative of a situation is kind of remarkable for me because with that program, I felt like it did not prepare me. I felt like we pretty much did work for the program. Like I felt like we were slaves to the program at one point. Which I mean, you shouldn't feel like it because we didn't get paid. So it was like, we're in high school, we're just doing all this work, and what really comes from it. So at that time, it was a negative to me. But now, as I'm preparing to graduate and going on interviews and hearing people talk to me, and they're like, "Oh, you did this, you did that. Oh, wow, that's amazing. That's impressive. Wow." I'm starting to see the positive from the negative, and it's a great feeling. And like I said, now that I'm seeing that positive makes me value all those lessons and skills I've developed and learned from my time at Germantown High School. So that was me figuring out the positive from the negative. Thank you.